Well, hello there. It's a beautiful Arizona morning, and here we are at the SkyTour LiveStream West site. And I just wanted to give you an after action report to show you how things are going. I'm actually daring to be a little further out into the field here because the Wi Fi seemed to be working. But as I said, Wi Fi will be immaterial as we get started because we're going to all be hardwired cable to the routers and so forth out here. Routers that we can pick off of out here, and we're going to be using one of them at a time. So I thought I'd give you a little look to show you what the pad and the whole thing looks like as we get there. Hey there, guys. How you doing? The pad. There is this. Sorry about the signal. I had to come back to where the Wi-Fi was stronger. And don't let that bother you because the Wi-Fi connection is not important here because we're not using Wi-Fi. When I first started coming out here to this location, this thing was only that tall, literally. It was just about 20 inches tall. And look how big it is now. It's gotten a lot of water, which is why it's so wide in the middle. Okay, it looks really pretty. Just don't touch it. you know, it's meant to be looked at, not played with, right? And I think I showed you last time, when they get older and they die, they actually have a solid spine. And that's the spine of a saguaro. It had one arm there. So really quite interesting. So I showed you before the thing quit. You saw the pad out there. And it's actually quite nice. It's got a beautiful view. Now, the observatory is going to be set up with walls high enough so that the telescope can see down to about 10 degrees above the horizon all the way around. And that's pretty good. Below that, no matter where you are, you have a lot of air you're looking through. And when you're looking through lots of air, well, then you end up with issues. And that's, looking through air mass, looking through too much air is a problem. So, hey, Canada boy. So I think it's important to make sure that we be realistic about the view. Even SkyTour LiveStream East, we don't have 10-degree views. We don't typically look at anything below 25 degrees. And here we can get away with that too. Except, why bother? I mean, it's just we have the ability to do it. But we're talking about ways in which we can actually create. Oh, I got a lump in my head. Sorry. So it makes it. Yes, this is live Terry Groff. See this? So we're moving along, and we got the pad. As I said, we got a pad poured yesterday. We had a concrete truck come in here. The concrete truck actually came in from that location there, from around the perimeter, came in. It's going to be more than sufficient for our needs. I'll show you. These cacti are just spectacular. This one is around 12 to 13 feet tall for scale. Give you an idea. Just last night, keep trying to reconnect, so I apologize for that. A circle of death. I realize. The thing is, again, like I said, the Wi-Fi is immaterial. We're not using Wi-Fi, right? We do have a bathroom outside in case we do want to, and you can see on the bathroom we do have an alien, okay, which is kind of cool. And this location is going to be quite a lot of hustle and bustle. We had some visitors yesterday that came through, and we're looking at the pad who are interested in the site, and it was pretty nice, to have people come out. But for the most part, the exact location has to remain, quiet because we are using land that belongs to somebody else, and that land is not ours, and we're not going to be violating their privacy at all. And if you're smart, you can try and look for some landmarks and try and figure out where it is. But we've done this before, and you can only come within about 5 miles or so without being able to identify anything. So I think that's pretty cool, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm only keeping it private for the sake of the people that own it, you know, and because they asked me to. So anyway, this is it's a wonderful site, wonderful weather. We've got tremendous support. We have water, we have electricity, we have... Me, dummy. Hello, Laura. Sorry about the spinning here. It's telling me it's trying to reconnect. That was Maddie, yes. M-A-T-T-I-E, Mattie. Maddie, come here. Come here. Come here, Maddie. Say hello. This is Maddie. Hi, Maddie. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. That's a dog that can kill rattlesnakes. Not bad. You have to go to snake school to learn how to do it, but Weimaraners are quite good at it. You know. Hey, Tara. Yeah, the pad is nice and solid now. I took pictures from it last night. So I hope it's I hope the image is still coming through, because it's telling me it's reconnecting. So if you could just tell me if it's actually still working, that would be very helpful. You know. Yeah, Maddie's killed a few rattlesnakes so far. It's not snake season, but, you know, they say 3 days of 80-degree weather and they'll be out, you know, from the hibernation. So, oh good, I'm glad that you can see, Tara. So yeah, there's a young, like I said, a young saguaro there. A dead one there, that's the spine of a dead saguaro. Right there, a little arm. There's another one over there that you can't see. Yeah, I know there's buffering, but like I said, the buffering is due to the Wi-Fi, and we're not going to be concerned about Wi-Fi at all. And I don't know how much of this is actually getting through with any quality, so once I get a Wi-Fi extender out here, then I'll be able to go all the way out to the pad and do some, you know, some nice observatory tour video as well, once the building is built. It's going to be a while. When I say a while, I mean I want to open April 30th. So that's a while. You know, but you know, the quality is not going to be that good. I agree, but like I said, I'd rather have you updated than not. You know, good. So I'm glad to hear from you, Terry. I was wondering how you're doing. That's Terry Groff I'm talking to. Terry Groff down in Texas. Terry and I went to a sushi place one time down there when I was in Dallas. He had a little place he goes to, and it was a lot of fun. I was down there shooting a television show for National Geographic, I think, which was a show to dispel or at least explain what I thought happened with the tether incident, or not? Yeah, the tether incident. So it was pretty cool. The tether incident where the satellite that was launched out of the shuttle had a long tether on it. It snapped, and lots of debris went flaking off the tether, and the tether eventually floated 90 miles away as the shuttle continued in its way. And they noticed all this debris, but when they focused on the tether in the distance, the debris in the foreground was out of focus and was big and round and donut shaped. And some people thought that this meant that it was giant ships, because it looked like they flew behind the tether, but the tether was as bright as could be, and so the video sensor was saturated as bright as it could be. And when that happened, the objects that were in the foreground, being out of focus, were softer in their intensity. And so when they went near the tether, they looked like they were going behind it. And that started a whole cavalcade of controversy, as I say. And that just, unfortunately, wasn't true. I reproduced it, in other words. I created a tether, I created a shuttle window, we created debris particles outside the window, and by shooting it in the way we did, we could see how this saturation problem worked exactly. So, yeah. And Terry Groff was there for that, which was kind of cool. I wanted to include Terry in the whole thing, but, you know, the National Geographic guys didn't have an immediate spot for him. I did, but they didn't want to go for that. But you know what? That's okay. I guess in the end, getting information out was just as important. So I can't tell who is here. I see some of you watching. There's about 11 people watching. I do want to thank you guys for checking us out. Yeah, NASA's Greatest Secrets, Terry, that's right. Yeah. And hey, Marco, how you doing? And hello to the others watching. Again, I'm trying to find out who you're. I see Carol's here. Tara, of course. And James Dugan, hey, from Australia. Nice to see you. I know it's in the middle of the day. Many of you are probably working. So I know it's not easy to be watching this. But maybe later you will. But I was showing before how the view here is just spectacular. Okay, the view goes from here all the way, actually behind me all the way around. We have a tremendous view out at the pad. We actually have 360 degrees of beautiful view. The only problem we have is that back this way, behind me, and actually toward the east, we have the lights of Phoenix can be seen very subtly rising above as a light dome. And those lights we want to avoid. So when the roof rolls off in the observatory, it's going to roll off this way toward, and not anywhere on the other sides like this, going all the way around. And that'll be perfect. I've literally wrote a computer program to figure out how high the walls have to be to make this work. Hey, Jeff. And how, how much we have to raise the telescope. And some of the people here, one of them being a scientist, has said, well, why don't we just make an articulated pier that will just rise up, out of the ground when the telescope roof opens. And I thought that was a great idea. But then I reminded him, I don't have, a budget like, for spy satellites and stuff, which is what he's used to. So we had to just dispense with that idea. He thinks it can be done cheaply, so I am still on the table with a possibility, but we are probably going to use another methodology. Now, I do want to have 360 degrees, and with roll-off roof observatories, wherever the roof rolls to, remember it has a slight peak to it, that peak will interfere with the view, right? Because it's going to be in the way. So what you want to do is you want to find out where you can be such that the view is not compromised. So if you pick the area where light pollution is, in this case it's this way about 65 miles, then that peak won't bother us because we're never going to look toward the east anyway. Why? Because it goes this way. It goes from east to west. That's where the sun sets. The sun sets right behind that saguaro, actually. So you go this way and it sets over there. So we have east to west and south, and everything is right there going down, and that pad looks right into the south all the way to the west. So we have all season to see stuff coming up from the east because it's eventually going to be over our head where there's no problems. So there's an awful lot that we can do. I mentioned before the darkness of the sky here. It's what we call Bortle 3. Jeff, I'll talk to that in a minute. Bortle 3 is 2 levels higher than Bortle 1, which is absolute pitch black. And Bortle 9 is actually the like downtown Phoenix. You know, the bright lights. You can't even see anything but Venus maybe in the sky. So this is Bortle 3. So that's pretty cool. Now, to Jeff Lucas, astrophotographer extraordinaire, I have to tell you, I was seriously thinking about what it might take to make an articulated mount that will raise and lower the telescope. And that's still on the table. And the scientist guy that I'm working with here, Chuck, he thinks that he can figure this out with no problem. And I'm thinking, all right. Yeah, I know. James Dugan is also correct. You can be done on the cheap, but we're actually looking at what are called linear actuators. And to talk about those, I'd have to show you how the solar panels out there are working. Those solar panels are literally 8 by 12 foot solar panels, and right in the middle of them there's actually an articulated setup that is actually steering the solar panels to follow the sun. And the same things, the same the roof, moving the roof off. And I think there's a possibility that we might be able to use that process. I mean, and I know where to get them cheap. I was just thinking a garage door opener, you know, and make the roof like a garage door. You just roll it off, roll it on. That's cheap, easy to do, well proven, and so forth. But that would give me the obstruction. In this way, we're talking about getting it done in such a way that we can actually take the roof off and get a full 360-degree view. And apparently for only about as much money as a garage door opener. So about $200, believe it or not. So we're thinking about it. I say we, me, the scientist guy here, and a few of the other people that are working closely with me on this whole process. And I see Marianne is here. That's nice. Hi, Marianne. Marianne is nice enough to loan me one of her vehicles so I can come out here all the time. And she's very nice about that. Hey, don't worry, Jeff Lucas. I am not going to get cold out here. I did have to wear a couple of sweatshirts yesterday because there was a little bit of wind out there on the pad as I was photographing the sky. But the pictures came out beautiful. I've already stacked them and I've got them ready for processing in Photoshop afternoon. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start processing these photos in Photoshop and get them looking as good as they can get. So I'm looking forward to that, you know. So yeah, there's I guess we're just staring out there at that stupid pad, I know, saying, hey, look at that concrete square, huh? But that concrete square represents the beginning of SkyTour LiveStream West. If you could have seen the work crew that was here, holy cow, we had a big, full-size backhoe and bucket tractor out here preparing the site. We had the big cement truck. Actually, I have video and photos. So when I get back, I'm also going to take all these things and put them down onto my PC, and I'll manufacture a video to show you the process, and I'll put it up because I did take a lot of photos of the process and some video. So I think it would be kind of cool to see how it goes and how it all went together. And besides, then I'll have a record of it online, and it'll be kind of cool. That's like a backup, you know. So I'm pumped and cautiously optimistic, you know. Cautiously optimistic. Sorry about the bouncing around, but I am holding the phone as I do a stream. When I moved out a little more, it had problems with the video, but I'll just risk coming over here for a bit so I can actually just zoom in a little for you. Okay, don't know if the video is working right now or whatever, but I'm sure you'll tell me. You know, I'm sure you'll tell me. And, you know, in the dark, do not walk into these boys. Oh, no, that really hurts. These guys are actually pretty spiny, you know, these Saguaros. And it's pronounced Saguaro, not Sagaro, or Saguaro, as people will say. The G is silent. Good, at least the video is loud and clear. Actually, in terms of concrete, what we use, I'll say, you know, You asked how many bags of concrete, Jeff. We actually had a cement truck. We used 1.2 cubic yards of concrete for this pad, but I got 5 cubic yards, and those 5 cubic yards were actually used for other tasks around the homestead here for these guys. I figured if they're giving me land to use, I should do something nice for them. So I wanted to make the the sidewalks for them for moving around. You said you used 36 bags to make your 6x6. This is 11 by 11 by 6 inches deep, not 4. It's 6 inches deep because there's a problem out here. There's a lot of wildlife. And last night while I was taking pictures, I was periodically just scanning all around with the very, very high power flashlight that I had, just to make sure that I didn't have any mountain lions or anything. Because I thought that, mountain lions, they could leap the fence that fences us in with no problem. And if they were hungry enough, I could be a meal. I did not want that. Yeah, James, it's 11 foot by 11 foot. The building will be 11 by 11. But remember, it's going to be a remote building. So once the telescopes are in there, and yes, I said telescopes, because the telescope pier, since we're working on a way to make the entire to the telescope, it means we're going to have the roof able to move off in such a way that it will be it'll move off in such a way that it will actually allow more than one telescope to be in there and have an unobstructed view. So looking now at not just one pier and not just 2 piers, but putting in 3 piers in an equilateral triangle, where if the telescopes are near the corners, they won't interfere with anything, and they'll be able to see just as well as any other telescope. And the only thing that can obstruct them are the other telescopes for certain views at certain times, and that's not that bad. So we also figured out a way to put in the piers after the concrete was poured. And originally I was going to just stick the contraption, which is right in the middle of that pad. I was going to stick the contraption in the middle of that pad down, into the concrete, and that was going to anchor 4 bolts sticking out. I know you probably can't see that thing, but it is right there. I think you can see right there, okay, in the middle. That's just sitting on top of the concrete. It was 4 what are called J bolts with bolts sticking out the top, and it has a 4-hole template that you basically shove down into the concrete, and it puts the pier mounts right into the concrete. I took the judgment of one of the guys here, be a requirement. I don't have to worry about putting it in now. So we have a way to do it. And so that means I can now be more flexible as to where the scope has to go. And as I thought about it, if it was going to be just one scope, I was going to mount the scope a little bit this way. This is where it's rolling off. The roof's rolling off this way. I was going to mount the scope a little bit toward that rolled off roof side, so that this view out to there and all the way to here would just be spectacular, and give me the greatest horizon capability. Right now, the program I wrote will calculate a height of a wall that has to be made for a telescope system that's going to be seeing down to 10 degrees above the horizon with a clear view without having telescope in the way. And that took me some time. I mean, it's a simple Pythagorean theorem, but then you had to additionally add in the fact that the circular aperture has to be clear of the top. So the bottom of the circular aperture has to be clear of the top of the wall. So that's what I did. So all that said, it looks like it's working pretty well, and it looks like I've got a good start here. But I have to admit, I originally just wanted to get a simple garage door opener to slide that roof off and slide that roof on. But I'm now kind of being sold by the scientist on whether I want to actually add what are called linear actuators to the whole process. I got to tell you about a little surprise too. A little surprise that happened to me. Okay. Oh, girl, who's that? Oh, it's me. You see that hose right there? Maybe don't. This hose handle, it's like a fireman's hose. And if you kick that little thing right there, that little guy, that little handle right there, if you kick that handle, the hose turns on. So as I was pulling the hose out to wet the concrete out there's plenty of hose for that, right up my leg. Yeah, it was a shock. Now the temperature was around 75, so Fahrenheit, so it wasn't that bad. But it was quite a shock to suddenly be soaking wet up the inside of your leg. I was in jeans, and of course out here the humidity is probably, at the moment, probably about 22, 25%, maybe 30 at the most. Yesterday it was a little bit higher, so maybe 30. And when that water went up my leg, I was uncomfortable for all of about maybe two full minutes, 120 seconds. After that, you know what? That's good news for all of you. It's good news for astronomy. Because if you have a very low humidity area, then you don't have a lot of water vapor in the air, and you get a lot of clarity. Last night, that was borne out when I looked at the stars. When I looked at the sky last night, I noticed that I had no less than solid stars that looked like they weren't twinkling at all. There was no sky perturbation at all. Right down to about 10 degrees above the horizon. That was good news. That was really, really good news. So, I'm pretty clear and pretty happy about that, because if I didn't have that, then I would probably have a big problem. I was picking a site that had bad water vapor problems in the air. But as you can see, like, figure, if you look toward the horizon, you'll see that the horizon stays blue. There's a little bit of a lightening of the blue as it gets near the horizon. But you have to understand, that's not how it is in humid areas. In humid areas, that horizon will be kind of whitish, and the sky overhead is a deep blue. I mean, it's deep blue. Now, the altitude here, for those that are interested, altitude here is around 1,700. The altitude's 1,700 feet. So we're actually at a pretty good altitude. I mean, we're not down at sea level. We're definitely above that. Now, would it be better to be up on top of that mountain over there? Well, sure, okay, but that would gain us another 1,000, 1,100 feet. But get to it, get to it. Try getting to it, No way to get to it. But, like I said, out here you have to be a little self-sufficient. You've got to kind of know what you're doing. And if you go out at night during snake season, you got to be careful not to go walking wherever you want. You got to have a light, and you got to be focusing on the ground and where you're walking and what's around you, because you could find a rattlesnake, and there could be one. Like right now in this little thicket over here, I guarantee you that there are rattlesnakes right now that are in hibernation down in that little hollow. Now they come out from time to time, and on this property they've probably killed 5. The guy a quarter mile away, who actually ran the backhoe for me, he lives in that direction, a quarter of a mile, neighborhood standards. Okay, no, I'm sorry, 3/4 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile away. He killed 26 snakes last year that were on his property. Now, he wasn't out hunting them. These are snakes that just kind of wandered in and started getting in the way of his stuff. It's too bad they got to kill them at all, but they are very, 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 very many of them out here. And he's been bitten by rattlesnakes. In fact, a lot of people around here got nailed by the rattlesnakes before. I hope I'm not one of them. I'm really not interested in getting bit by a rattlesnake. Oh, hey, Marianne. Maddie's in the house. She was out here a little while ago, but then she wanted to go in, and she just kind of grumbled and whined at the door, and she was allowed in. Marianne had the ability to visit here the other day. It was wonderful. We came out for a little while so she could see what was going on out here and meet the owners. And I'll have you know that you drive many miles on dirt roads to get here. And I can now do it. I am now no longer a desert virgin, if you want to call it that. I can drive here and get here anyway, as much as any way I want. I can actually, I know where to go. And guess how I get here? I get here by looking at the mountains. and figuring out how far this way I got to go, how far that way I got to go, and how far up we're going, how far down we're going. It's kind of cool. So it makes it much nicer. You can actually get here by just navigating yourself, you know, because otherwise they used to have to come get me and have to be let in. Now Tara actually came out yesterday, and she wanted to see the pad, and because Tara has been so incredibly helpful to me, she was the editor, the person that edited The Populated Universe, my book, and I wanted her to be able to see what we're doing because, you know, plus she's a good friend, and I wanted to show her what we're doing. And I had to lead her in and lead her out too because, you know, the roads, it's easy to get lost. And she's used to traveling on desert roads. So, you know what's funny? You get to, you get to learn about, like, well, you turn here where this particular saguaro cactus is. You remember the rotted out saguaro that's about to fall down? Yeah, okay, you take a right at that. Things like that. But you get here, you know, you get here and you learn about the natural landmarks because don't depend on human-made landmarks because those can change. People can get rid of them. Yeah, but these guys are desert signposts if you know where to look. And that's exactly where I've kind of told you much of what's going on. I'm glad the video is still coming through because I've always just seen reconnecting on the screen. So it must be getting through in some way or else you wouldn't be commenting. But I want to thank you guys. I will talk to you next time. And next time I upload something, actually, I'll probably upload a video of the construction process just to show you what's going on, just to keep you posted. You know, I mean, there are people that contributed to the GoFundMe, and that's the reason that is there. Okay, because without the GoFundMe, SkyTour LiveStream West would have remained a dream. But now I get public outreach thanks to that GoFundMe and the wonderful people that donated. And so I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's people out there that want to see science go out to the masses. And I'm very, very humbled by that, and I'm very happy about that. So for now, I'm going to sign off and let you guys get back to your lives. Appreciate all the support and all the amazing things that you've done for me. And I'm going to keep my Saguaro behind me, you know, and like, hey, hey. No, he wants to like stick me where it counts. I'm not going to let him. No. Anyway, you guys have a good day, all right? And I will talk to you later. And I hope that we can have this up and running by the end of April. It's ambitious, but you know what? It just feels right. It all feels good. Doesn't it, Saguaro? He agrees. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.